stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I hear a motion to approve the town council meeting minutes from May 13th of 19?
I move to approve.
Do I hear a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, once again, there are no opening remarks. Police Department report. Chief?
For the month of May 2019, 189 dispatch calls, 44 walk-ins. We drove 4,379.4 miles. Hours worked was 811, 27 hours for overtime, 20 hours for training, 4 hours for case investigation. Part-time officers worked 40 hours, and reserves worked 3 days. There were 39 traffic stops in Long Beach, 6 citations, 11 written warnings, 13 verbal warnings, 1 parking citation. 9 suspicious subjects were checked, 9 suspicious vehicles, 10 courtesy services, 22 ordinance violations were checked, 16 ordinance citations, 20 alarms, those alarms. On the report side, there was a death investigation. Under information report, it was turned over to the postmaster. 1 damage to squad car report, 1 theft from an unlocked vehicle, 1 theft of a weed eater and extension cord, 1 information report for a mentally challenged subject, 1 dog bite, 1 arrest for gun law suspended, and 1 warrant arrest. Things are starting to do.
Police Commission, do we have anybody here from the Police Commission? I guess we'll have to wait till next month on that. Volunteer Fire Department, John?
We had 2 fire calls for the month of May. Both were false alarms. We had 6 medical calls for the month of May. 1 was injury, 1 was sick person, 1 was unconscious victim, and 3 were lift assists. The average response time year-to-date for fire calls is 5.2 minutes. Average overall response for medical calls is 5.3 minutes. That's it.
Okay. And John, are we, as far as our relationship with Dunlin now, is that contract over with?
Essentially, unless you revisit it.
Okay, so right now, do we know, have they gone to Michiana?
Well, I know they're in the process of, and I think it may be almost complete now. They had their attorney to take a look at it. So.
Okay, and Bill, are we paid by Dunlin up to date in terms of, okay, good.
So the 911 people, they all know that it goes to Michigan.
They will at the point where the contract's formalized. I'm not sure if it's formalized yet, but once it's formalized, yes.
Okay, and Fire Commission, John?
Sorry?
Fire Commission too?
Yeah, we're still working on the station. We got some drawings for proceeding. Attorney's helping us with a couple issues as well, so we're moving forward.
Okay.
John?
We also move forward on the trucks. We've got talked to 3 different vendors on some different specifications that we should have numbers from all 3 of those within a month or so.
John, are those drawings available like in the clerk's office for the public to view?
They will be. Right now, the renderings are the only thing I have, Joy. So, I mean, if you want, they're proceeding on the drawings, but I don't have a full set quite yet. Should be soon.
Okay, thank you.
They had to do a little bit of survey work to resurvey the property to make sure that we had the old survey from when this building was remodeled, but we needed a current survey, so that's what they were in the process of doing that as well. So once that's complete, then we should be able to complete the drawings.
Okay, thank you.
Street Department? I don't see Tom anywhere.
No, Tom's got family commitments.
You good on it?
Sure. I'll just, if you don't mind, Mr. President, we'll just do a combined street department and commission report. The street department has been very busy with the huge project we have started with our streets. They've started putting in the new big dry wells all around Long Beach. And then when that gets completed, they will start the paving, which will start from the west to the east. And we're just really excited because this is all paid for. There's no, we don't
Not
have to.
all, but
Well,
75%.
right, but we don't have to take a loan out for anything. That's the end of my report.
Okay. And that's street commission too. Joy, park board?
Park board met on 5/28. There was a discussion of ongoing stop rehab. Stop 22 has been completed with the exception of they're looking at some metal stairs that will lead to the beach. The stair repair work was done at stop 30. The informational sign at the tennis courts has been completely rehabbed with the help of volunteers. Broken cement bench was removed from the community center park. The beach cleanup day was a big success. There's been a hiccup with Cardenas Landscaping for the month of May due to a physical injury to the owner, but they hope to get caught up in June. They will also be mowing the courtyard at the community center. We're still working on a solution to the fence at Stop 30. The tree roots are a problem for the new fence installation. Last month, it was noted that the park board changed the pull-in area at Stop 20. That in fact did not happen. The curb and the signs are in the same position they've always been. However, a more secure metal railing was installed the length of the walkway down to the beach. And their next meeting is June 25th at 6 p.m.
Joy, I had people complain about stop 23. They can't get up the stairs. They can jump off to the side, but because the erosion of the sand is so low, that it looks like we need an extension on those stairs.
Okay, I'll let them know that. That's the same thing that happened at Stop 30. And I think they'll just have to put some more stairs down there.
Yeah.
Okay. Community center report, Joy?
The community center met June 3rd. We discussed a lot of maintenance and housekeeping issues. The committee came up with a capital budget for 2020, which will be submitted to the Budget and Finance Committee. There's a new Irish dance class, Wednesdays at 11:30 for the summer. I think it's just preschool kids, and they'll be doing that in the gym. And Bob Gallagher graciously donated a flag to the community center, which is now flying. And the committee will be getting a solar light to sit on the pole and light the flag from above at night. Next meeting, July 1st, 4 p.m., room 12, community center.
Cool. Water board, Bill?
Water board. Just for those, I know the council knows it, but for everybody who's here, we lost our 37-year veteran, Ron Griffin. Sadly died just recently at the age of 55. They did meet in an emergency session, and there were really only 2 employees, and Greg Parrish is the assistant superintendent, and he was promoted. He's been for 15 years and has all the certifications that are necessary, and he's been promoted to superintendent. And at the time, they're going to wait a bit for finding another replacement because we think he needs to have some time to kind of gather up the fact that Randy worked with for 15 years is gone, and then he's got a learning curve, but they will be at some point in time looking for a replacement for him.
Budget and finance, Bill, do you have that one?
I do not.
No? Okay, we'll have to let that one go till next month also. Human resources, Bill?
The one thing I will say, the council knows it, but we did receive, we're still waiting for the receipts will be coming shortly for our our May 10th tax revenues that were done, but we did receive about $600,000 from INDOT for the paving project that Jane mentioned in the street report. So we're ready to go with that money as soon as the project is complete.
All right. Building commission, I'll do that one. 1802 Lakeshore Drive, multiple problems with the property in terms of where they're at with the building. The contractor didn't build according to the plan, and consequently There's problems with parking spaces, with topographic ordinance. There's a gas meter in the middle of where parking's supposed to be. So the owner is very likely going to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to see what he can do. Unfortunately, the contractor has put him in a pretty bad position. 2729 Floral Trail. There they want to add a 3-season room. Unfortunately, the lot's too small. He has 2 lots, however, he's going to have to formally combine those lots in order to build what he wants to build. 1906 Lakeshore Drive, citation's been issued for working without a permit. The certificate of occupancy is on hold as a consequence. 2943 Lakeshore Drive is a retaining wall. You may have noticed it's too close to Lakeshore Drive. Stop work order was going to be given if it wasn't resolved by the following Tuesday. I didn't get any follow-up on that to know what's happening with that, but I assume it was issued. 2909 Lakeshore Drive, there's again the same issue, a contractor building not according to the specifications that were approved with the building permit that was given. Trying to get that resolved with the builder, and hopefully it'll be resolved before we have to issue a stop work order. That's Building Commission report. Board of Zoning Appeals, they did not have a meeting. Advisory Plan Commission did have a meeting on 5/20/19, discussed the toter ordinance. We changed the time frames on when toters had to be taken back and put out. We also adjusted the fines. We also talked about the possibility of setting up some kind of central location for people to put their garbage, particularly people who are part-time here, who aren't here on Mondays, people who are just here on the weekends. The concern is that if you put a large bin out, contractors tend to put their garbage in there. I guess I have to wonder if we maybe couldn't put a bunch of small toters someplace. Maybe that would prevent that. Maybe we can put a camera there so we discourage people from abusing that. Basically, as far as that toter ordinance, we changed the fines so they'd be on a weekly basis, so that if you, say you left town for a week, you didn't get 7 fines, you got 1 fine. And it starts off low and then goes up. And actually, I think we've already seen improvement in terms of people bringing their toters in. So that basically, the vote was to send that to the town council with a favorable recommendation, and so that comes to the town council tonight. Unfortunately, we only have 3 town council members here, so we may want to postpone that. We discussed the sign ordinance also. We had a public hearing there. However, due to the many amendments that people suggested with that, we didn't feel that was ready to come to the town council yet. And so that'll hopefully be here next month. And then the vacated alley at, I forget the name of that street, but that's all been dropped now. We decided that it just didn't make any sense to do that. That would create more problems than it would solve. And then a new ordinance was introduced, one called accessory uses allowable in the public right-of-way. Bottom line there was any new driveways that are built into the public right-of-way are going to need to be made of semi-permeable or permeable pavers, hopefully help alleviate the problems that we have with standing water on a lot of our roadways. And that's still a work in progress. And I think that was it for the APC. Building permit revenue report.
21 permits approved with fees of $2,695 on project costs of $205,319. 2 electrical permits plus a modification of a permit for May totaling $431 with revenue of $43.10. Legal expenses paid, it should be in May, misstatement there, $9,459.35, $6,473.85 to Gracie Nelson and James, $2,085 to Austin, Kuiper, and Casitas, and $900.50 to Night Hockey Koenig and Knight.
Move to approve the reports.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Cool. Unfinished business, 2020 census.
Yeah, I don't know, that appeared on the meeting. I don't think it needs, I think we've already discussed it, and it's something that's going to be coming up next year, so.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to take it off.
Okay.
But that's fine.
Sewers update, Joy?
There's no update. There probably won't be for the summer. They're still working on the preliminary engineering report, and that will take them most of the summer.
Okay, next on the agenda is the parking ordinance. Again, with just three of us here, we could open it to discussion but get ideas from anybody who's got ideas on it. But basically, we've got an ordinance right now we have no ordinance about parking. This would hopefully create a parking ordinance.
But we have one. This is a rewrite of...
This is a rewrite of what we have, okay. One thought I had with this parking ordinance was, one of the things it says is that you can't park in the right-of-way in front of somebody's house unless you're a guest. But the concern I'd have is how are the police going to know who's a guest and who isn't? And I don't think, Bob, you want your people going up knocking on everybody's door. So I guess one thought I have is maybe we handle it like similar to what we do with this parking lot back here. We issue everybody 4 or 3 stickers to hang from their rearview mirror to give to guests to park in front of their house. Bob, would that be reasonable for you guys? Okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead and stand up and introduce yourself, Bill.
Couldn't you,
Introduce
guests
yourself.
that I have, Joan Smith.
Okay.
John Blanchard Smith. Any guests that I have, I say, you're welcome to come park in my driveway. Just put a sign in there saying, Jebby, it's Billy, or John, or somebody that I know they are, and so I wouldn't be calling the police and telling them to get around with them.
Well, yeah, it's just if the police drive by and, yeah, for instance, my son, back when he went to college, had a bunch of fraternity brothers, somebody parked on the side of the road and got a ticket. This would allow us to give him something so the police, because we didn't find out about it until the police had already given the ticket. So this would allow the police to know, maybe, would be my thought. Any other comments?
Well, I mean, on this parking ordinance, it actually says that if there's a parking area that is off the asphalt, off the paving, only people who live adjacent to that can permit they and their guests to park there. So, like, let's say you lived on the other side, let's say you lived on the beach side of Lakeshore Drive, and then someone lives on the hillside. Only the hillside people can park in front of their homes, not the beach side. Is that making sense? That was never, before, if all the wheels were off, they usually permitted it. But now it's saying the only people who can park in front of your house is you and your guests. And I had the same thing of how is the police going to know if that's your guest? And I don't know why they didn't go to the tags. Because, yeah.
That's what I think we need to do, yeah.
Can I make a comment about toters?
Yeah, Chris, before we go to toters, the parking ordinance, was that a public hearing?
No, it's not a public
So
hearing.
what?
It was before you. The public hearing is the ABC issues that get certified here, which that's the total ordinance.
Okay.
You simply just continue this.
Okay.
And as discussed previously with you, you have to have a majority of the members of the council vote to pass this, and given that you only have 3 of the 5, and unanimous anyway to consider it.
Okay.
So, I prudent as we discussed to pass that along and continue until you have everybody here.
So the toter was a public hearing, however?
Public hearings only at the ABC. It's here on certification.
Just in certification, okay. All right.
The toter is not, this is really about the toters themselves as opposed to that. First of all, for the council to understand and the public too, we have been re-signing an agreement. State law says we cannot sign anything for a longer term than what we've had before. And I found out that as we have passed this thing on, we always have thought that we had a large item pickup. We didn't even see the gents from the Public Service last week, not because they were not being 7 o'clock. And we still have people who have put more than just a large item, they're putting things in there. But the other thing that commented to us, which I think we need to consider, is we've been reluctant to put out garbage cans because there are no surrounds for all of the stops that we have. And Tom is comfortable in putting out garbage cans with the surround in there. But what effectively we've been doing, and these are union employees, and we've kept a very good price on this thing, is nobody moves the garbage cans out to the street. So they are going into the surround, taking the garbage can out, and people have found that the surround allows them to dump a bunch of garbage when the garbage can is full. And so these poor guys are actually working to fill up garbage can and then take the trash that's on the ground and everything else. So all I'm saying here is, besides the total ordinance, we probably have to figure out a system that's going to be effective for the beach stops, because I don't think we should be asking these guys to pick up our trash, and what they have to do is then they've got to take them back for no additional fee and put them back in the surround, and so to some degree we're making them do work that they're not getting paid for. So I'm not sure I have an answer, but I have a problem. So
you're saying the enclosures at the stop are actually creating more
well, we
problems?
got to figure out some way to do this, and maybe we've got to figure out a way to hire somebody to come out and put them out and move them back, just as we're telling our residents to do, because it turns out I'm not expecting our existing staff to do it, but maybe we've got to have a service that does something for that, because it leaves them with that extra work and no recompense.
Would the garbage company give us a price for doing it?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Any other comments on the
I'll
total?
call and see what the price is.
Okay, so we're going to hold off on the total ordinance and
Yeah, anyway,
continue
it's
that.
just that's a little nuance that it doesn't have anything to do with fees or fines or anything else. But
Okay. New business, Attorney Steve Hale, Jeanette Hicks, Global Engineering. Pardon? Yes.
we talked about it last month, and we skipped over it because it repeated itself on the agenda, and I'm not sure why.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Steve Hale. I'm a local attorney with offices in Michigan City. You've seen me before. I'm here representing the Barnard family, 3 siblings who own property at Stop 31 and Moore Road. It used to be addressed as 3044 Lakeshore Drive. The Barnard family own this property through Lake County Trust Company and a trust, but it's the 3 siblings that own the property. And they're here requesting a project similar to the one that occurred at Stop 14, connection to the Michigan City Sanitary District sewer at Stop 31 along Moore Road. With me tonight are Ross Barnard, who is one of the siblings who own this property, and also Jeanette Hicks, who's the project engineer from Global Surveying and Global Engineering and Land Surveying. I thought I'd just remind you a little bit that we've had almost the virtually same project at Stop 14 in the JAXA sewer that was installed. This is a low-pressure system, a skinny pipe, a flexible pipe that travels by directional boring, and it will go across Lakeshore Drive, up through only the town right-of-way, not going under anybody's property at any point, and then connecting on the far side or east side of Moore Road. I thought in a presentation that Jeanette Hicks would tell us a lot about the project if you have any questions. But first I asked Ross Barnard if he'd talk a little bit, really briefly, about his family's connection to Long Beach.
The Barnard family in the very early 60s, the father of the home builder, decided to build this lake home. Unfortunately, in the early 60s, the house was about 70% complete. It slid into the lake. And we thought we were going to have a lake house. My father had the courage to go ahead and build a little better seawall, and we enjoyed enjoyed the home for 50 years, 50 of my 68 summers were at that home, and my children and grandchildren. My parents were very young when they got married, and they had kids right away. So we aged with my parents. And my brother has moved away to Delaware. I live in Naples, Florida. My sister is a homemaker with a grown child in Chicago. So our ability to rekindle those old memories at Stop 31 are no longer available to us. And it would be great closure for our family if another family would have the same dream that we did. So our hope is that the commission, or council, would find a way to approve this project.
Thank you, Ross. And Jeanette, the project engineer, if you just detail a little bit what you've got in mind here, engineering-wise.
Yes, so I submitted 3 sheets, and I think it's really the cover sheet that gives a good schematic of what we're proposing. So this will be a low-pressure system. I'm proposing a 2-inch HDPE. I've personally used this on another project in Michiana Shores, where a homeowner there didn't have the availability for septic, and so we tied into the Michigan City Sanitary District sewer there. That one was a little different in that it was 1,500 foot long, but again, we've used this successfully before. I've also designed forest mains in the town of Burns Harbor, so I have a good amount of experience with this. So as it's shown, there's about 300 foot of directionally drilled HDPE that we're going to use for the force main. And as you probably know, one major benefit to directionally drilled is that there's minimal disturbance to where the pipe's going to be going. With this only being 300 foot, it's our intention that a small drill rig would set up on the parcel, which is at 3044 Lakeshore Drive, and then be able to drill the 300 foot to the connection point. Now, where this connection point is, there's a manhole at the intersection of Overhill Trail and Moore Road, and from that manhole going towards the northwest is an existing 12-inch PVC sewer. It looks like that sewer kind of reaches towards one of the residences on Moore Road. But that sewer is in the public right-of-way, and I have had conversations with Arbor, the engineer over at Michigan City Sanitary District, and kind of outlined our plan. He was favorable to it, just obviously needed to get permission from the town council to put this sewer in your public right-of-way. So our intention is to tie into that existing 12-inch PVC, set a manhole over that sewer. The location where we're proposing that, again, is in the public right-of-way. There's an existing gravel area next to an asphalt drive where we would set this new sanitary manhole. And then any disturbance to that gravel will be, be restored after the project. I did, prior to putting this together, I met with Ron Griffin. He was very helpful. I'm sorry for your loss. And we discussed how this would impact the water. He had one point of order: just make sure that the force main was below the water mains, and typically water mains are at a 5-foot bury depth. So on the 2 plan sheets that are a little bit larger size, the 18 by 24, the second plan sheet shows the profile of the sewer, and on there I show 3 ellipses, which represent the water. There's 3 water mains that the sewer will be crossing under. There's one on the north side of Lakeshore Drive, and then there's 2 on the east side of Moore Road. One belongs to the town of Long Beach, and the other one belongs to the city of Michigan City. So as you can see in the profile, we are proposing going under the water main, and then once we reach the spot where the manhole will be, then the force main will come back up and reach that elevation. So we're proposing being about a foot under the water mains. And there's about 18 to 19 foot of lift from the site. And then we're going to lift the the sewage to that manhole. Any grinder pump package that will be necessary to, push the sewage, that will be determined, the location of that will be determined at the time of home building. You never know, obviously, if the driveway is going to go on the right or the left. So that specific site for the grinder pump station isn't shown, but again, that's site specific. So we're just here for this force main plan. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
What if right on this corner, right where you're going through, we're considering sewer on Lakeshore Drive?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This corner right here is where a proposed lift station.
Okay. Well, we can adjust. I mean, this was the most obvious direct route, but I know those drilling rigs can bend at like a 70-degree angle without having to, stop and start again. So we can adjust this. Obviously we had to take into account where's the water, where's the gas main. Now, when I did meet with Ron, he actually said he would prefer to see it right under the center of Moore Road. This location's not necessarily set in stone. Again, we have flexibility, so we can definitely move it around.
And if a sewer is coming in, will it have the same stipulation as Mr. Jack said, that they will abandon this?
That is our understanding and intention, both.
Okay, we probably need to make sure then that that's in the agreement. Plus, there was other conditions on Jax's also, right?
Yeah, that covers the main portion of it.
And that nobody else could join, or like nobody from the north could join?
Sure. And last time, as you approved, if you're inclined to do the same this time, Mr. Ellen and I would work out the terms of the agreement. I think last time we did have a requirement that they cover attorney's fees. I think the difference in that one versus this one, and again, it's your choice. I think that Mr. Jackson has lasted quite a bit of time, and you had a lot of time, money, and efforts from the town's perspective, whereas this time, Mr. Hale will be doing most of the heavy lifting on this, and I think it would be normal course for the town to review those, but we're really recreating many of the documents that we were able to take advantage of having done that recently.
And this is the same system that the Jaxas asked for. And is theirs installed and working now?
Yes, it is the same system, same pipe, same grinder pump establishment, same sort of connection, and it will be installed the same way through the directional boring.
Hasn't been installed yet.
His
I'm
sewer
talking
pipe
about,
is in.
I'm comparing just the plan.
Okay.
The Jax's was put in, that is, the connection was made to the Michigan City Sanitary District manhole, and it's not been connected at the property yet. It's in the same position that the location of the grinder pump, which is just a pit with a cover at ground level, is house dependent, and there's no house there yet.
I see. I wonder about that grinder pump. That would be on private property.
Yes, the grinder pump is on the owner's property, not in any way on the town right away.
Got it.
We're just asking for the piping to be there.
Yeah, it's very interesting when you think of Moore Road, so it'll start at Upland, go like Kitty Corner, and go under Moore Road. And so all these people, this is going to be on the right of way, and then go under Lakeshore Drive.
Yes.
Right, and it's directional boring. So there will be no actual cost to the town or other neighbors or anything like that. Now, what if so it's crossing in front of 1, 2, 3, 4 structures. If they wanted to hook up, could that be a possibility?
Yes, it can. So now just a clarification, you said it starts at Overhill Trail. That's actually where the manhole for Michigan City's manhole is, but there is a sewer, and it's not showing up very well.
I see.
There's a sewer, because I personally looked down in there, don't be jealous, these are part of the really great parts of my job, is I get to look in sewers. So when I look down in the sewer, you can very clearly see that there is a 12-inch sewer that is running, to the northwest. So our plan is to, since that is in the public right-of-way, that is a public sewer, our plan is to meet that sewer right here in some gravel area. And so there will be some digging there. There's going to be a manhole that's going to be about, it shows on the plans. Let's just say 7 foot deep. Don't hold me on that. I can't remember that detail right this moment. But there'll be some slight digging there where they set that manhole over that existing sewer, and then that's where the force main will tap in. But again, all the restoration for that gravel area will be on this project to take care of it and make it to the liking of the town. It is town right away, but I understand that house there probably put that gravel in themselves. So we'll definitely work with them to make sure that it's to their liking. And yes, to answer your question, this pipe is sized that I was looking at a similar project which was larger, maybe much like what the town of Long Beach is proposing. And on a 2-inch line, I've seen up to 17 homes tied on a 2-inch line. So if there were 3 or 4 more that wanted to come on, at least the engineering portion of it, it would be possible. There may be additional valve vault structures that would be needed, which basically has like a check valve in it. That way, if you're farther down the line and you're pushing the sewer one way, it's obviously not backfeeding into one of those other houses. But yes, the pipe can handle it. And then obviously there would have to be some sort of an agreement in terms of. I think you could speak on that point.
May I weigh in just briefly? You may recall that in the JAXA agreement that was reached between Mr. Wilby and myself, it provides for the possibility of additional homeowners tapping into that line, but it requires the town to approve it. And so we're saying, we're going to do the same thing. Everything's going to be the same in our agreement. So we would certainly want that provision in there so the town can look at how that would work out and say yes or say no.
So could you envision that this wouldn't even happen until they sold the lot and there's a plan for a home, right?
I think it's very possible that they could put it in as soon as you approve it.
Through the marketing process, if we find that it's been very difficult to market this property without a sewer.
Yep.
So we've come this far. Our background is 25 years in the home building business. We're not foreign to these kind of projects. We've done them, land improvement, etc. So for us, it's a possibility, 2 possibilities. One, to put the grinder in and the force main, but also we may end up having to build a home now. And it's not something that we're embracing, but we ultimately, we're getting up in age and we've got to do something with the property's already been sitting growing now for 5 years.
Any other questions? So, I guess I'll make a motion that we approve their plan subject to exactly the same conditions that the JAXA's have. Chris, you can draw that up. Do we have?
Well, there's a resolution that
Okay.
consideration.
And so,
Dr. Lemay?
Yeah.
Andrew? I would just ask one change in the agreement. When you say exactly the same, my mind starts thinking. If you recall, the JAXA provision said that the people that could tie in had to be on Lakeshore Drive. In this case, it would be Lakeshore Drive and most especially Moore Road. And I would just ask if you would allow that change.
I'd be okay with that. So same conditions. Now, I didn't see anything in here about the automatic hookup or the requirement to hook up to the sewer when the main sewer is put in.
None of that. It was a separate agreement.
But that will be added.
There's a separate agreement.
Plus, I think the same fees that everybody else on Lakeshore Drive will be subject to, correct?
I'm not certain what you mean by
Aren't
that.
the fees for the sewer, or basically they're gonna pay the same for the sewer?
I think where you are concerned with that will be addressed by this homeowner, because if somehow the new sewer came before they were done, not likely, if at all, whatever direction that goes, that'll be addressed, because you are establishing that any new connections cannot happen without your approval. So there will be future regulations to those seeking to tie in to what they're doing. So I don't think that's part, I think where you cover what your concern is to say that going back to the town council's approval is required for any additional programs.
Okay, so we can make a motion to that effect?
Yes.
To approve the resolution with those caveats?
Yes.
And you can draw that up
We'll work together and have an agreement for your consideration.
next month?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hear that motion?
Yeah, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Cool. Great.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, July 4th, 5K run.
Yeah, that's just an announcement, really, that as in the past, we want to approve the 5K run that Dickens have done for the last several years. Our only requirement is 8 cases of water. We need to sign about 200 documents that they hand out to the runners, which says old school run on it. So it's a pretty seamless kind of thing. And they have typically given us the full benefit of all the receipts they get for this. So it goes up about $50 to $100 every year. So we're appreciative of that.
And this is just an announcement, we don't need to do anything.
Yeah, no, you don't have that.
Good. All right, and when we have a request for a block party at 2701 Ardmore Way on July the 12th.
I make a motion that we give permission for this block party. If you want to explain what it is, but I think it's
They did that last year.
realistic. That street did? I don't think that street did.
But I mean, I think that's, if the chief sees it as not a problem, then it's...
Right.
Yes. And then Chief, they're asking if they're able to block off the street from Lakeshore Drive to the end of their block. Is that a problem for you? And they want to play, they don't want to play past 9 or 10. I guess we should maybe say 9 or 10. 10 o'clock okay with you? 10 o'clock okay? All right. Can I hear a motion to allow it?
I did, I make that motion
Do I hear
to
a
allow
second?
this.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. ADA beach accessibility. I've been in contact with Global Engineering about the possibility of a disability access at stop 14 that would allow us to put in a access to the beach both for people who are disabled and people who are not disabled. It's quite a hike from Lakeshore Drive to the beach at stop 14, so this would actually allow us to have the state pay 50% of what it costs to put in that access, so I thought that would be a good idea. Now, you can get a grant for both the engineering and for the construction from the state, but you can't get them in the same year. And so if we got a grant for the engineering portion of this, we'd have to wait until next year to build the disability access. On the other hand, if we model it after what we did at stop 24, and we go ahead and contract with Global directly for the engineering, and when we pay that full amount, then we can apply for the grant from the state to pay for the construction cost, which will probably be considerably more. So to me, that made the most sense. I had Global come up with a engineering proposal for developing this beach access at stop 14. We haven't gotten, any of the engineering. We just have talked about what we maybe want to do. And I've got that grant in front of you. That grant is for $29,500, or not grant, that proposal is for $29,500 for their engineering services to develop that. It does take a certain amount of expertise to develop these disability accesses because they can only be so steep, and there's quite a drop off there, so we'll have to do a little zigzagging to get down to where we need to get people down to the beach. So basically, I've got this out there. The town needs to approve that, however. Bill, do we have the money?
Yeah, we budgeted $20,000 out of the CCD fund for an ADA.
And the,
And we have some other additional monies that are just called capital improvements.
would it be okay too if the park board chipped in
Yeah.
on that too? Okay. So I guess I'd make a motion that we approve this engineering study by Global.
I'll make that motion.
Here a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I just trying to picture stop 14, and then that's where there's like a big grassy area, right?
Stop 14 is where there's actually a driveway on the stop, and the driveway leads down to a...
Is that where Long Beach Realty is?
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, that is
Right across.
I have a picture that is close, if you'd like me to show it now.
I see.
Yes, you would like to?
No. Now I know which one it is. I was.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Thank you.
And so basically, this is to approve they're doing an engineering study, so we can, then they'll also help with the applying for the grant, which they did at Stop 24 also. So basically, I think this allows us to get the whole thing done.
Right.
Hopefully, provided we get the grant, which I think we have a real good chance of getting.
Sure. I just wonder if the people who live there have seen this. Well, we don't really have a plan yet.
We have a plan.
But I would say that the people who live there should be able to meet with Global, to influence, what they gotta live with, like every stop is done.
We will, Jebby and Jean are here, and we will go over the plans with them as soon as we do.
I have a plan too, I mean.
Jebby has her own plan.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
So basically, this is to approve the engineering study.
I gotcha. Well, then I second. Did I second it? Yeah. I did second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And Chris, you've seen this proposal, I think, right? From
I
Global?
haven't seen that,
Okay.
but you were allowed to approve for services.
Okay.
Short of contract, but you're allowed to, without bids or anything else, to approve the terms of their services.
Yeah, maybe we can just have you review it before we sign
You
it.
can do that subject too, sure.
Okay, subject to your, okay. All right, public comments. Stand up, identify yourself. Oh, you better step over here, too, so you can be on film. Yeah.
So I have a question, Mrs. Secretary. So on the it's an easy one. But on the website, it looks like the last time we knew it was on the park board was 2016.
I didn't know what you said.
We can't hear you. Who's on the park board?
Kendra Bartlett,
Okay,
Zachary now,
okay.
Jerry Massey, and Catherine De La Barra.
Okay.
So on the website, that's not on there, Mary Lou?
Well, I can
Oh, I'll just
see. Will
look.
you
I
look?
got it right here. Yeah.
Now, wasn't that easy?
Yes.
Good job.
And they have a new Facebook page too,
Oh,
Long Beach Parks and Recs.
Yeah, it's on there.
okay, all right, thank you.
And we are working on a new website, so
Oh, good.
we've contracted with a company to do it, and hopefully it'll get done. Let's step up here. We're going to be on film.
You were talking about the steps at 25 and 30. Somebody ought to look at the steps at 28 as well. There's a significant drop at the bottom of those steps. I just mentioned that for your consideration. John Wall, in his report, talks about that they're proceeding with the station and the trucks. I just wondered if anything's been budgeted or spent yet.
I don't believe so. No. I don't think any money's been spent. We're still looking at
Is
it.
it budgeted?
Was it in the
We did
budget?
budget some money for it, yeah. Yeah, but it was.
Well, we did spend $10,000 on the plan.
Yeah, well, we did, yes.
And where does that money come from?
CCD. From the CCD.
And then last, I just wanted to thank Councilwoman Nyla and Mr. Definiak for projecting. They speak loudly, we can hear them all over the room. But I think everybody else really needs to use your microphones.
Sorry, that's not working, sorry. Other comments?
I just have a brief comment.
Okay.
2300 Sherwood
Why
Drive.
don't you step up here, so they can put you on film.
With regard to the thought board and the minutes, I'm sure you guys have had more meetings since last July than this one. But on the website, I've only seen minutes for one meeting since July of 2018.
I was told they've all been sent to Nick.
Okay.
I believe the website has a problem.
I communicated with Nick as well.
Yeah.
But he's not here tonight.
No, the website has a problem. It's not allowing us to do it. Hopefully we'll get a new
Yeah, I
website.
guess, there aren't any meeting minutes that go over.
I know for a fact that that one won't let us post them. We need to get the new website.
They're available just now on the website.
Oh, there you go.
If you come here,
The clerk's office.
clerk's office has them all.
I'll stop by.
They're not always sent to the clerk's office. I think they think sending it to Nick is sufficient, and they should always be a paper copy or electronic copy sent to them.
I used to be a teacher, I brought visuals, big enough for everyone to see. My name's Joan E. Blanchard Smith. I'm a real native of Long Beach because I was born here. I was raised at 1308 Lakeshore Drive. There it is.
Oh, wow.
This was in 1927. That's not the year I was born. Can I consider?
Yes.
Oh, I think this is your body. All right. This is what the house looked like. And Jane, you asked about the driveway. There's a driveway, right? I can't tell. Right here. It's right here.
Yeah.
And this is, my parents built this in 1925. And this, I think, is a picture from Long Beach Realty through the archives I was going through. I'm going to throw over there too. My fingers are in a lot of different pots. But this is now my sister's home, so I'm going to say happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Her birthday's not till August, but all right. So that was one thing I wanted to say.
What's that? Chris Silverstein.
I was trying to keep it short. Everything I have done, because I am at 1400 and Jean is at 1308. I was raised in a family house and I built at 1400 Lakeshore Drive in 1981. And there's an easement between us. So that we have had lots of fights in between, but my sister not anyone else. And we also, I took care of it. I would vacuum. No, I would mow the lawn. And in fact, it was so bad in the last month that I went out and mowed it anyway, even though I was scolded for, never mind. So, what I want to say is, after the last meeting, I was given a diagram of the proposed renovation, which was before they talked ADA. I met with Mr. LeMay, and I talked and met with Joy quite a bit, and I have some modifications here that I think would be much more feasible than going up the dune. And I know they know about it already, but I wanted to present it to everybody. And this, I think you can probably see better. And I won't try not to, I wrote it open. And I have something for, this is the boards for you to look at. And this is mine. And this is what I am proposing. This is my sister's house over here, 1308. This is my house over here, and this is the easement in between. And I would like to propose an even exchange, which would be this area right here, I have it highlighted in yellow, is a wall that is on the easement, but we always thought it was kind of the edge of the easement. We didn't know that until the surveyors came out and went, oops. Okay, so I'm proposing that we take this amount of land, which is about five feet, I believe. It's 5 feet on there. And my sister well, I'm suggesting she give that to the town, and the town give her, no. The other way around. She would receive this strip, and she would give the town 5 feet of hers. So instead of going up over the dune with whatever you're planning, that poor dune grass, we don't want to mess with that. Instead, Mom, that's what I heard. Instead, they could walk along the edge here, which was on the original plan they showed me. Remember those little footsteps? Yeah.
Sand, not
It's, so you would go along the sand of the bottom. The bottom?
No, you have it right.
Yeah, I was say up here. But all the way down, and I'm not sure how far it goes down. I think it depends on the high water mark. But that's my proposal. And I know there's going to be more in the works because of this ADA thing, which has come up more recently. The last information I had was the one you gave me that was the last week. So that's all I have to say. And if I could meet even with, you had said Jeff with engineering, I would like to meet with them and show them what I have. Then you can keep that. And it would be feasibly easier, and I can tell you for sure, all of our neighbors are going to be going down the way they've gone for the last 40 years. They're going to go straight down my sister's beach, but not, they would not want to go up over the dune, which has grown, and then the little drop off at the end, where they can jump off into the sand and then crawl over to the water. So
You can't plow the dune anymore, and that all fills in.
no, I understand, but if we propose it that way, then you could get whoever these volunteers are and have them brush the sand off the walkway you're putting down there. It's there now. I mean, it's a nice flat walkway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but don't you think it would be, because they're gonna have to go from street level if it's ADA. So don't you think it would be
You
easier?
mean there's going to be a bridge going across it?
They're gonna have, ADA has to access from street level because
They
what if
can't
they
go
don't
down.
come in a car? What if they don't come in a car?
Well,
I mean,
but even
you
that
could go
car,
down, but
shouldn't that car be up there at street level? And then,
you can't take somebody down that steep drive in a wheelchair.
well, it's not that steep a driveway, and they have
It's too steep for ADA though. I mean, you can only go like 10 inches down every so many feet.
Well, instead of discussing it now, and taking everyone's precious time, how about if I meet with Jeff, the engineer, and we all back it up there?
Michigan City's ADA has that rubber thing that, and it's all flat. But what I don't understand is why would you erode the perfectly good dune?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't erode it, they would have to build something above it.
Above it?
Because we can't plow.
Oh, I see what you're saying, sinking. I see.
I think they would have to build something above the dune grass, because we're not gonna plow out a dune, we're not allowed to do that anymore.
How do you go above the dune grass without damaging the dune and the...
I'm waiting
Well,
to see
you're
the
gonna we'll see what the
engineers.
engineers come up with.
Yeah.
Crazy question.
Have you looked at stop 16? Because it's a nice, like a boardwalk. I mean, it's street level.
I don't know why.
Well,
It doesn't slope.
the one advantage to going at 14 is that as we lose our beach, 14 will be the last beach Long Beach loses. Because as we lose our beaches, 14 will be the last one we lose. Because the further you go to the west, the better the beaches are going to be maintained because of that breakwater down there at Washington Park. So 16 will go before 14 goes. That's, the idea was we wanted to put disability access at stop 24. Well, right now, that would be a suicide ramp because it would just lead you right into the water. So we've got to learn from our mistakes or learn from what the lake has done to us.
Okay, I'm finished.
Any other public comments?
Hello, my name is Tim Perry, and I live at 1802 Lakeshore Drive, Long Beach, and I sent Dr. Bibles an email yesterday, and I thought I would go on record by summarizing what it was about. I was approved for a renovation of my home about a year ago, and part of the approval was to provide for parking in front of my home because the driveway that we all called it on the bus stop next to my house was shown as being something that was encroaching on town property. So through the process of building my home, something happened with my builder and the plan where suddenly my house was not 20 feet from the setback, it turned into 17 feet from the setback. And we talked about getting a BZA variance for cutting down the porch with some concrete sawing or changing the house significantly to adhere to this requirement of 20 feet. Even though I walk up and down Lakeshore Drive, I see all these renovations, and none of them are 20 feet from the setback. I'm not sure why, and I've never been sure why I couldn't build on the existing foundation of my house, but somehow where we have to be 20 feet away. And that's been a point of contention for a bit. The driveway thing has been another point of contention, and the driveway issue has been, well, I'm approaching, it shouldn't be on the town property anymore, they want to tear it out and put grass and benches and beautify all that. And I said, well, when it gets torn out, how do I get to the side of my house? And some people on the commission said, well, you should have thought of that before you built the house. And in my mind, I'm going, well, you guys did approve it. Maybe the plans changed, maybe my builder didn't present it properly. I don't quite know, but it's been a stressful situation wondering how I will access my house when my driveway that I've used for 40 years personally, and it's been there for at least 80, will be torn out. So I went down to the port, I went to the recorder's office. My father has been gone for 15 years, told me a long time ago that the driveway was really a road, and my dad was, had a gift for exaggerating. So I wondered is this true? Could it be a road? Is it really not my driveway? Maybe it's a road that's always been there. It looks really old. I thought, could we do some study and see how old the concrete is? Why is it still, how can we call my driveway if it was put in 100 years ago? Anyway, I get down to the Port County Recorder's office. I find the deed for the bus stop. The bus stop was not drawn into the Long Beach plat like all the other bus stops. The bus stop near my house was a lot. And it was a lot like you build a house on. And it was owned by the Long Beach company, Clarence Mathias. His name's on front of this building, right? So the Long Beach company sold that lot to the town of Long Beach back in the 20s. Clarence Mathias and Otto, or OB, whatever his name is, signed the deed. So I read through all the legal mumbo jumbo on the deed. And on the deed, it says, for street purposes only. Clear as day, street purposes only. My attorney pals tell me that's called a restricted covenant. And that goes with the property, goes with the deed. It has to be a street. So I thought, the old man was right. It's a street. It's got to stay a street. It's next to my house. I don't claim to own it. I don't have to park on it. But just like everybody else who has a street in front of their house, that street goes in front of my house. And I need it to get into my house. So if the town takes it away, it's going to create a problem for me and my home. And I hope that when I walk out here, everybody talks about me and my comments and my email, I hope there's some consideration put into the fact that the deed that you guys have to that property clearly states that it's for street purposes only. Thank you.
Comments on that?
Public comment, I would advise that you don't respond.
Okay.
Greg Albany, 2100 Open Wall Drive. I come here as the president of the Long Beach Civic Association tonight to bearing some bad news. The only way we could get insurance this year was to throw nothing at anybody watching the parade. Candy. We talked to the fire department first thing right away. And so you can hand stuff to them, but you cannot throw anything or we would be uninsured. I thought it was just a local thing, and Kathy's daughter, who works for At Properties in Illinois, said they got a very long email about the same thing from their folks and stuff like that. You can't throw anything. You can hand it to them. I don't know if you can drop it by them. I don't know. But you cannot throw anything. Everybody, it'll be in the next t-shirts. I'm here tonight. Bill, if you could send out an email, I appreciate that too. And we'll be talking to everybody when we line up for the parade. Sorry about that. Not our problem. Thank you.
Okay. Great, thanks, Ben. Any other comments? Come on up, Kat. Come on up to the front.
Really?
Yeah, really. They want to see you on TV.
It's your birthday, Don.
It was, today, down today, the 75th anniversary. That was incredible. Okay, the reason I'm here, and this is nothing personal to anyone on the board or anyone in town, but almost 2 weeks ago on Thursday, I left my home in the morning after the storm the night before, which was pretty bad. And I have a radio show, so when I came off the air, as I was coming back toward my home on Oakenwald, I ran into the head of the street department, Tom, who I have a lot of respect for. We talked because there was a big tree that I cabled that was coming out by the roots. I didn't know that. I probably slept through the storm. But we talked for about half an hour. We looked at my property. I reluctantly agreed. I've been fighting for that tree for 35 years to let them take it down. At that point, I do radio and television, but during the day I have Kavanaugh Care, which helps people who have to go to the hospital. I work with doctors, nurses, etc. And I was taking somebody to a doctor's appointment in Valparaiso, so I was gone for the rest of the day. When I came back, unfortunately, I just missed it. There was a tree company that I also have a lot of respect for, a maple tree out of the border. They were scalping my property. Just planted several fruit trees there. I've been developing a lot of bushes and trees that are growing that have been there for many decades. I'm heartbroken. And if you go by my property, you'll see there's like little trees that I planted and just cut off halfway. There's a tree that probably has to come down, I'm going to save up for and take down. But the tree company just scalped it at the top, which leaves it open for disease, etc. I know all of you have trees on your property. We've had some situations before here in Long Beach where some trees were taken down right around the corner at Stop 31 and people were heartbroken. I don't know about you, but my credentials are I started the Michigan City Tree Board in 1993. We did an inventory for 3.5 years. We're doing another one now, and then I was elected on the Indiana State Urban Forestry Council. I went all the way up to vice president. My father passed, so I had to resign, so I was not president for the state of Indiana. But our job was to establish tree boards all over the state and also teach people how to properly climb and trim trees, including NIPSCO and other tree companies as well. So I think I have something to say about this, and I'm going to ask the town to compensate me for the trees, the bushes that were taken down. I can't even look at the open wall side right now, I'm still really upset, and it means a lot to me. So the other thing is I called. I know there was a big upset this past couple of weeks with the death of our very dear friend. And a lot was going on here in the community. But when you call, and with the new, answering machine we have, which is really cool, call in, hit 1 for this department and 2 for that. Nobody called me back, except for Bill. Bill was preoccupied, I understand that, but didn't get anything back from the street department. So what's the point of having an answering machine and all of that if we don't get call backs? So I know this is a small town, we all have a lot of things going on, I understand that. But I'm just asking you, number one, if people call with situations, please have somebody call back. That's why we voted you in, that's what our tax dollars are partially paying for. And also, I would ask somebody on the board, whether it's the president, Alvin May, or Joy, I know I've read some things about establishing a tree board here, which would be great. Somebody come and help me replant what was taken from me on my property. So I'm not trying to be a downer, I'm sorry to bring this up, but it really affected me. My property there in 1961, when my parents bought the
So a lot of those trees just kind of popped up, and then I did a lot of planting. And some of those trees are memorial trees for family members, people in the community, etc. We've done that around Long Beach and all around Michigan City. So that's what I'm asking is if somebody will please contact me so I can resolve this issue. And if there is anything else that goes on in the town and people call and leave messages, I'm just asking you as a citizen to please call people back so they don't feel like, you know, an idiot having to leave several messages about it. Thank you for your time.
So Donna, are you saying the town came in and cut down the trees in your yard?
The only tree that Tom and I had discussed that we both agreed to at length was the big gigantic tree that was coming out from the roots. And yes, it came down. Nothing else was discussed or agreed upon. And when I came back, they were just mowing down these trees. One particular right on the edge was a very healthy tree. It could have been trimmed, but it was gone. And the other tree that was brutalized and several new trees and bushes that I put in and established bushes that were already there. It's scalped, and it's just, I'm sorry, but, you know, I feel like it's just not how I am. So, anyway, that's what I would appreciate if somebody would do. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Any other comments?
Well, you'd be glad to hear from me, I'm sure. Bob Boyce, Stop 29. I just have a question for you, Bob. What is the active life of a building permit? 12 months?
That would probably be average.
Yeah, that would be the active life before it needs to be renewed?
Yeah.
Okay. How would the building department deal with a resident who does major restorations or even building without an active permit?
He should be fine.
Be fined? Mm-hmm. Issued a stop work order? Mm-hmm. Would the same apply to a contractor? Mm-hmm. Okay. How would you handle that violation? Fine, stop work order, other?
Both.
Because this is brought to my attention. I didn't seek it out, but your building commissioner is doing work at 1517 Lakeshore Drive with an expired permit. There's an expired 12/31/18. He has an expired septic permit. And he's continuing work. Not to mention that he's got his sawhorses all the way up and down Lakeshore Drive advertising his company, his wall construction. I'll leave this with you because I'm sure you want to have it.
I'll check on it. Okay. Cool. Any other comments?
Just one more. Because of the wet weather, we're gonna have lots of mosquitoes.
Yep.
Are we gonna start fogging for the mosquitoes?
I haven't heard anything about that.
I'll ask Tom I'll text him tomorrow, but then I'll have an answer by the 19th. But I'll try to have one sooner, but that's when our meeting will be. And I'll let you know, Nancy, if I find out anything. They're pretty bad.
They're the size of hummingbirds.
Yes.
Maybe that's what we're covering.
Yeah.
I would like to offer something on, as the chief fiscal officer elected, when we budgeted, there are people here who are not positive about the new expenditures for the fire station and the fire truck. But I'm all in for it. But the way we price it for Duneland Beach was a per household price. And I feel that it is unfair to tax people, to take tax revenue for that. And I think that we should really consider levying. I am willing to pay, and I'll sign something tonight or whatever you like, to pay $180 a year for the next 10 years. And if I pass on, I'll make it attached to my house. But I think if we're going to spend $1.8 million, it shouldn't be tax revenue. It should be something that everybody participates in. Just the way we do with leaf pickup and everything else, it should be a per unit cost. not tax revenue. So right now we're at the end of the meeting and we're just making comments. But I think we really should, and so I think people should raise their hand, those people who are in favor of this, and be willing to add another $15 a month to their monthly bill to pay $180. And that times 1,000 residents is $180,000 a year, which is about what we're going to have to pay in fees. And times 10 is 1.8 million. And I think that's basically what we're going to need. 1,100 residents times $180 is about $200,000 a year, and 10 years worth of that is $2 million, and that's probably the way we should be funding this, regardless of all the other pieces of whether we get a big truck, a small truck, or anything else. But I really think that we're spending money for ADA, we're spending money for Stop 24, we're spending money for a lot of things. So the sewers are separate because that's going to have to be some kind of a bond issue. But if we're going to spend that kind of money, I think everybody should step up. And I think it's painless to tell everybody that somehow this magic tax revenue, but we're not getting that much tax revenue in here. And I think you really need. So I mean, this is something that needs to go through committees and everything else. But I really would like an issue where we get everybody's pitching in to pay for this for the truck and the extension instead of, because I think that people think it's magic, and I see this money going out and even what you talked about, Jane, about the streets. We get 600,000, but it's going to turn out to be more like 250 to 300 that we're going to pay. Wonderful, because we've never had that kind of input, so I'm very pleased with what was done and the money that we've gotten. But that $300,000 to pay, we probably need some more.
Right, but that's what we would have spent anyway.
Yeah,
on the streets.
But that's $300,000 that's coming out of the coffers.
Yeah, but it's tax money. It's
magic. Yeah, I know.
No, it's tax money.
Well, no, but I mean
that we would have spent anyway. Now we have.
It's great. It's just that, but I'm seeing that money. It's not an endless flow.
No.
Maybe we take that to budget and finance?
Yeah.
Okay. Other comments?
Another question about the fire department. Have we made a proposal to Michigan City to see if they would be interested in what kind of cost would that be for the homeowners?
Huge.
But do we have that in writing?
No, they will not give us, we have talked to them several times. They do not want our business and they will not give us a number.
But it would be
They don't
huge.
even want to spend the time to figure out a number. That's how much they don't want our business. And Bill Hazelgrove has talked to him. You can talk to him about it.
Other comments?
Yeah, I think so. What would be the problem with the town owning the fire department? Rather than contracting a private corporation, which is the Long Beach Volunteer Fire Department, is a private corporation. As long as we own the fire truck, we own the equipment, we pay all the expenses, the insurance, everything, and we own the firehouse, why do we need a private corporation? Why don't we just hire John Wall as the fire chief? The volunteers will still be there, and get rid of the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer of this corporation. And with that, because the E1 reports show that in the last 6 years, $539,000 has been redistributed from their fire department, which means they get a lot of benefits, grants, and a lot of money that comes in from other sources. They do not share that with the town. Not only do they not share it with the town, we pay all their expenses. Why not just take the fire department over as part of the town?
I'm not the expert on the arrangement we have, and maybe we have that discussion sometime when John's here.
I can supply you with all the E1 reports. They're public record.
Again, to have that discussion without them here isn't fair to them.
We should have a moratorium on this, I think.
Other comment?
Yes, Jim Diener. With that in mind, with regard to the fire department, and I have said in the past, I am a great proponent of volunteer fire departments and come from a family of volunteer firefighters. But the situation we have is so different from anything else anywhere else. They are a 501c3 organization, and yet they don't own the equipment, they don't own the building, they don't have the skin in the game that most volunteer fire departments have. Now look at some of the long-term plans in this, purchasing this truck, that we may very well need, or we may very well need. It's just one part of the whole puzzle, because we have other aging equipment as well. And with that comes a price tag with each one of those. It's my understanding that the fire chief, fire marshal office from the state of Indiana, has indicated that communities like ours should begin to think about having some sort of consolidation. And whether that's with some other volunteer fire departments, whether that's with sourcing in some benefits from Michigan City, which is going to have to be a negotiated situation handled by you members of our town council. But long term, and we could be looking at another $500,000 to $1 million for more equipment in the future. We have 1,100 homes. We're talking about maybe $180 a household. At the last meeting, town council meeting, I shared some information that I received from Winfield Township, and it's a community of 2,350 homes. So they have twice as many homes as we do. They have about 6,000 people full-time. And they're being served by a fire department that actually serves not only them, but other entities. Approximately 18,000 people. They too have 33 volunteer firefighters. I understand we have 32 right now. Theirs are all pretty much located in a certain area. They also have an ambulance, and they have full-time people handling the ambulance. And the per year cost per household is $70. So, as somebody who's been in the financial world my whole life, I am saying to you, we've looked at the whole picture, and it's not just a short-term picture, but long-term. Where are we going to go with this? And they have a younger population than we do. We have an aging population here by all measurements. More than 75% of our calls are medical driven. I mean, this is part of me that we might need something to help us do medical calls more than fire calls. It's my understanding in the last 3.5 years, there's been approximately 400 fire calls. 9 were structural fires. Now, if that's your structure, you want the best to be there. But we need to be weighing everything and considering this going forward. It was all good that this has been going on for as long as it has, but now the cost of playing poker has gone way up, and I don't see it ending. And it's not our, it's our cost. It's not the fire department saying, hey, we have gotten grants, we're going to do fundraisers, and we're going to come in and we're going to charge you $70 a head going forward, or $100 a head. Now, basically, it's going to be about 180, and actually maybe a little bit more than that. So, this is the time I think that we need to be looking at the whole situation now and for tomorrow. And I hope we're going to have more public input on this before things move along too fast.
So if your town was the same size as ours, they'd be 140 a year, right?
I'm sorry?
If your town was the same size as ours, they'd be paying 140 a year.
They're paying $70 a house.
But there's twice as many houses.
Well, then if there's half as many, then I guess they're going to be paying half that cost.
Twice as much. They're going to pay twice as much. I mean, I just want to compare oranges to oranges.
Perhaps the economies of scale come into play. And so maybe we are now at the point where this volunteer fire department should be sharing with Michiana, Cool Spring, Beverly Shores. Maybe there needs to be a consolidation in some regard from a manpower point of view, from a cost point of view for equipment. And I mean, that's something that's medium to long term. And since you're the ones with the checkbook on this, so we are. We're going to have to be the ones, we need to be the ones to take a look at all this. You know, God bless our fire department. I mean, you're not picking up the tab on us. And I mean, I guess if I had a situation where price is no object, price might not be any object.
Any other comments? Claims approval.
No, I just want to say, council.
I'm sorry, council comments.
Yeah, you know, they're changing over, NIPSCO's changing over poles, and it starts around 27, and then it skips because they're gonna bury those utilities at between 28 and 29. But it looks horrible because they put these poles up, extended them, but they haven't taken the old ones out. So I just want, someone was complaining to me, and she was so upset. She said it looks like a third world country. And I said, we have their assurance that NIPSCO said they're going to take the old ones down. So we've got to make sure they live up to that, because, yeah.
Any other council comments? Claims approval.
Claims approval. This audience does not have the accurate number as does the council right now, but I'm talking about check number 16368 through 16438, totaling $141,068.37. So there's going to be two check registers as you decide, one with 4 checks and one with the remainder. Salaries for the 3 pay periods in May of 2019 were $100,162.96.
I move to approve the claims.
I hear a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Move to adjourn.
Do I hear a
I
second?
second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Cool.